eventually you get absorbed in and you are sonic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to No Repeat. It's a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. I'm Taylor Olmsted, and I'm joined by my not yet AI co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
Oh god, it's so close. It's just right around the corner. Soon we'll have to look at incredibly crappy JPEGs of Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie, horror smut all over the world, and it'll...
And who will be to blame? It's Sean Evans.
That's right. Not a hallucination of your AI software. I'm still meat.
Well, Tyler, tell us what we're doing this week.
This week... Oh boy. Yeah. This week we got a challenge for you. So this week we're challenged to find the perfect song for LuminoPop. And so that is a fictional. The fictionals might not be the right word. Is a algorithmically generated genre that we use Chat GPT to generate. Would you like me to read off the definition?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's quite the mouthful. And if you're familiar with this format, you would know that this is pretty much par for the course. LuminoPop is a vibrant, upbeat musical genre that infuses elements of bright, shimmering melodies with catchy hooks and infectious rhythms. It's characterized by its use of electronic synthesizers, uplifting lyrics, and a fusion of diverse musical styles ranging from electro-pop to funk and even hints of tropical beats. LuminoPop artists aim to create music that radiates positivity and energy, often incorporating colorful visuals and dance-friendly beats to create an immersive and lively experience for listeners. The genre's themes revolve around joy, celebration, and the vibrant essence of life, aiming to uplift and energize audiences with its catchy tunes and feel-good vibes. Oof, alright, well I gotta take a drink of water now.
Yeah, boy, that is a mouthful.
And if you want to submit your own challenge, you can DM us at us on Instagram. And actually, you know what? Hold on. We're kind of switching things up a little bit. We just launched a Discord. How do we find the Discord, Taylor?
I'll put a link in the show notes.
We'll put a link in the show notes because Discord is a great service. However, it is a little funky to sort of like get people in, sort of intentionally so. But we have a Discord now, and I think that will be good for community. We tried to have like the Facebook, and Facebook doesn't really quite work the way we want it to anymore. Instagram doesn't really have good discoverability, and I just feel like, you know what? We have a little section on our Discord. I think we're going to say we should funnel you all into the Discord. So that's where you can submit your challenges, and that's where you can put all your new stuff there, all your song choices there. Or you can send us an email. That will always be true. And it will also be the least used functionality. norepeatpod@gmail.com.
And we should say, back on the Discord, we are actually recording this episode live on Discord right now. So if you want to hear the episodes a week before they come out and get to interact with us in the chat live, Discord is the place to do that. So we've done this once before where we had ChatGPT give us a genre and then we had to pick songs. This one, I gotta say, not that bad.
Tolerable.
At least for me, I felt like this was relatively easy to pick. Like, you know, there's some nuances that you can play into with the funk rhythms and like the different genre influences, but uplifting synthesizer-based pop, I mean, that's a dime a dozen around here anymore. Like, I had no trouble this week. What about you guys? Were you struggling to find something?
Not really. It was easier than I thought. Electro music is not something that I seek out very often, so I was a little bit concerned, but it came across nicely. So
So I feel like I knew exactly. I feel like this challenge is sort of made for me in a way. I feel like when we submitted this, I was like, this is what I already listened to. But I sort of said, you know what? What if I just choose something kind of weird and kind of dumb and just kind of see like kind of like where it goes? Like what's like something that like felt a little like off kilter? And I don't know. I guess I decided not to sort of like although I did shoot from the hip, I do have a swath of songs I probably could have chosen for this challenge that is already in like constant rotation.
Yeah, I was really surprised when your pick came in because you already listen to this stuff and you pick it pretty often on this show. Like when this description came from ChatGPT, and I was the one who asked ChatGPT for it, I was like, this just feels like something Tyler would have made up himself. Like, maybe the bots really are coming for his job.
They are. It's also just like a bunch of things that are like, it's just kind of the sound of now in a lot of ways. So it's like, is it really that big of a stretch?
Right.
Like, what?
It's hard to say, like, you know, how is LuminoPop different from just pop music right now, to be honest? Styles ranging from electropop to funk and even hints of tropical beats. I feel like that's every Justin Bieber single for the last 5 years.
Right. There's also been a sort of resurgence in what is called like 2000s like jungle, which is like jungle, like I think some level of electronic music. I forget which genre. I think
it's a UK-based dance music, yeah.
Yeah. But that's like, you know, people are kind of like picking that back up from like basically like the era where SSX Tricky was like one of the games to play. You know, it's like all the sorts of like extreme sports in like the Y2K era was kind of like, so it's like, yeah, there's like sounds that are kind of like coming back in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was the fun part of this challenge for me, was like, I wanted to find something that was bringing back a sound from the past and reinterpreting it, because that was in the description that the AI gave us. And so I wanted to kind of lean into that. All right, well, why don't I go first this week? I chose Alive by Wilo Wild. This is one of those where I know nothing about the artist. I just really liked the song. Found it on an I think it was an electro pop playlist, or maybe like an indie dance. I don't remember exactly. But I had the playlist on in the gym and was just like doing a Sean. Like, if the song didn't hit me in 10 seconds, it was a skip. And this one, it was a little bit harder, because it does start a little soft. But when I heard that auto-tuned vocal, I was like, ooh, this might be LuminoPop. And then when they brought in this kind of UK garage, like drum and bass beat behind her, I was like, ooh, this is probably LuminoPop. And then around the 50-second mark, when they bring in the whoop, yeah, samples from all the 90s hip-hop, like whoop, there it is, I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is 1,000% it. Because it's like, is it hyperpop? Is it drum and bass? Is it techno? Not really. Is it hip-hop? Definitely not. But it's pulling together all those things. And lyrically, it is exactly what the AI said, right? It's literally about figuring out what it means to be alive. Take a deep breath. You're going to get through this. Hold on to each other. This moment will last forever. Like, you don't get more kind of platitudinous, uplifting pop than that. But beyond, like, you know, the vapidness, like the cutesy vapidness of the lyrics, which I do really like, I just think there's something about this beat that is really infectious. And ever since I heard it on the treadmill that day, it's been stuck in my head all week, and I've listened to it a ton, and I haven't gotten tired of it yet. So, yeah, it had to be my pick.
You know, for somebody that actively says they think Porter Robinson is mid, you really chose a Porter Robinson-ass song.
As I was thinking it, I was like, boy, this really is like Porter Robinson.
It's not exactly like...
See, I was going to say, I think the difference is it's somewhere between Porter Robinson and Fred again.
And Swarty.
Yeah. It's that influence of the UK garage that I think is what really sold me on it, because I've always loved that genre. If you're not familiar, garage was kind of a subgenre of techno and early dubstep that emerged in the 2000s in the London club scene. It usually uses like soul vocals and drum and bass loops, but in kind of a poppier context. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but you know it when you hear it.
I'm almost certain at some point Spotify gave me some kind of like, they just come up with the most random like genre names, and I feel like there was some kind of like tender, soft like dance, like it uses like traditional like electronic like beats like this, but it's also like sort of like ooh soft in a way. And I feel like what's interesting about this is that it is in fact using like club banger beats, but it's like the most like petite, like sort of like gentle sounding like instrumental surrounding it that really like transform it from like being like, oh, you know, we're in the club, we're on X or whatever, you know, like instead it transforms into like, oh, I'm listening to these like lo-fi chill beat adjacent songs, like when I'm playing Stardew Valley, like with, you know, like it's interesting that I feel like in some ways they've used these like really intense sort of like beats and kind of like mash them together with a much more like down tempo sort of like like a surrounding instrumental. I feel like the only thing that doesn't necessarily completely sell me is that it does feel a little soft and less like vibrant and like jubilant. It feels a little more like sort of like almost wistful or cathartic or sort of like wistful in a way. But I also would say that as a made-up genre, I feel like it can stretch, and I feel like for the most part, I think it covers almost everything. Like, doesn't I would say I feel like it covers almost everything that ChatGPT gave us, though. And I do think it's a cool song, and I'm interested in check this artist out.
This is a good LuminoPop song. It has good LuminoPop elements. But LuminoPop is a genre of pop music that you get into if you're a pop head. So you probably have some other elements that drew you to LuminoPop, or at least have pointed an algorithm at LuminoPop. And those would probably be some 10 or 15 year from now, like hipster bands like Interpol and things that we would have listened to when we were in high school that you're, you know, picking up from your mom and dad's musical taste, but is not something they were that super into. So I think that captures it, and that it has to have that brightness too. Like I don't want to use the word club beats in this, because I feel like the kind of person that's going to be into LuminoPop is going to be no longer into drugs. They're like, I feel like they're going to be out of that. I felt like I heard somebody say the other day that Generation Alpha doesn't drink and doesn't like do drugs, and I was like, well, that makes sense because they're like 3, so let's just go ahead and say that's probably correct. But I just think like I just couldn't believe that was cited as a thing that we just haven't gotten up. Well, like I'm addicted to generational theory because I think it's absolutely hilarious that Generation Z gets dumped on for not knowing cursive, and I'm just like, it's completely whatever. But that being said,
12-year-olds were smoky not that long ago, okay?
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, the 12-year-olds were working in the coal mines not too many generations ago, so
and they're going to start working them again in no time.
So I think that LuminoPop will have a very clean aesthetic to it, and this has a nice clean aesthetic to it that has some influences from stuff, but is tweaked in a way that feels trickly good to listen to. Like, you're not going to get in trouble for listening to LuminoPop. At least not this version of it.
Yeah, I think that's a good read for sure. It's very safe.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a good segue to Tyler's song, I guess. I don't know. I'm struggling with who should go next here, because I feel like I don't know how y'all interpreted this challenge. I wanted to go first because I feel like I did what it said on the box. I need you two to atone for your sins.
Okay. I think I should go next because I think I have more to atone for.
Go on. Go off, King.
All right. This week I chose, in some ways, maybe the proto-LuminoPop song Tarzan Boy by Baltimora. So my first introduction to the song was randomly the sound clip that was featured commonly on ytmnd.com. Don't remind me of what the context for this meme was, but who's to say? What I found so fascinating about this song is that I don't think I've heard it on purpose in the, like, basically outside of that meme contest, except for there's a local band called Moonbow who decided to do like a cover of it. All, like, they've been posting like reels and like posting, like, just making it like one of their, like, the core like tenets of sort of like their marketing campaign for like their advertising and stuff. And I'm like, like, they're already kind of a band that really focuses on sort of like that positive energy, sort of like a little nostalgic and stuff. And so I was kind of like intrigued by it by that way. I was like, well, you know what? Let me listen to this song and see what like is actually going on here, because I don't think I've listened to it on purpose. And so I feel like it already sort of has like a catchy hook, an infectious rhythm. You know, it's got synthesizers, and it's like an electropop song, I would say. And I maybe would say I latched onto hints of tropical beats because like, and it's not literally tropical beats, but it is. It's like, I don't know. I was like, I feel like a jungle tropical kind of vibe. I feel like would fit sort of in the genre for that. And so I feel like it's generally like a pretty like safe song in terms of like its lyrical content. It's just sort of like someone who wants to try to live like a, you know, they're kind of like, oh, I'm tired of the sort of like the normal aspects of city life. I want to just kind of do like, kind of want to chase like whatever kind of brings me joy, kind of, I don't know, like that kind of vibe. And so I also just think it's a catchy and a feel good vibe. Honestly, the chorus really does a lot of the heavy lifting, and I feel like that really sells it in of itself. Just like, because I have just, without any context, just been like, just for like a week, just once a day at least, because it's just stuck in my brain. And I was like, you know, this might not be like a contemporary LuminoPop song, but maybe I would say maybe this was an influencer of what the genre became at some point.
Okay, I hear you. I get what you're saying about it being like the very beginning of this sound. Yeah, like I do think it has some tropical flavor in the horn stabs. It has the classic like new wave, new romantics kind of synth elements of the period, right? This is released in 1985. Like, it's very, very 1985. For good and bad reasons. I also was aware of this song. I had forgotten about its meme context. For me, this is a song that is like in the water. It's hard for me to know if I have heard this song in gay spaces or if I have watched a bunch of movies about the 80s that this song is featured in or heard it in clubs. It's probably all of the above. Because, and I didn't know any of like the background of this song until today. It was truly like, when the song came on, I was like, oh my God, I know this song. And then I had to like go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, and the story behind it is truly fascinating and also like so like captured in amber for the exact time that it existed, and it could never have happened at any other time. So basically, the singer on this song, Jimmy McShane, grew up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. He was from Derry, which, if you've watched the fantastic sitcom Derry Girls on Netflix in the US or on Channel 4 in the UK, that town is where he's from. It's kind of a backwater of Northern Ireland and very, very conservative and Catholic. He came out as gay and was more or less disowned by his parents and went to Italy and fell in love with the Italian dance club scene, where he met a producer, and the two of them created this band, Baltimora, and Tarzan Boy was the first single from Baltimora. It was a massive success throughout Europe, and then slowly trickled its way into America. It took about a year for it to make it onto the Billboard charts. He eventually performed on Dick Clark's American Bandstand in 1986, and then did some follow-up singles that did well in European clubs, but never really made another hit across the Atlantic. And unfortunately was diagnosed with AIDS in 1994 and died in 1995 at the age of 37. And that's just such like a emblematic story for a song like this, that like the song is about going out and like traveling the wilderness to seek the thing that you want in life. And that's what Jimmy McShane did. And, you know, his life was tragically short, but he got to see the world, which is not something a lot of gay boys from Northern Ireland got to do. And so, I don't know, it is almost more LuminoPop in its essence when you know the story, that like an Irishman and an Italian meet in a club and then make an international dance hit together. It's just such a weird, like, record scratch, you're probably wondering how I got here type of story. But I kind of love it. That said, you know, I don't know that it necessarily totally fits the production standards of what we would call LuminoPop now. But Tarzan Boy walked so LuminoPop could run.
Well, I super wanted to dump on this song until you redeemed it basically completely. So thank you for educating us. That only makes ignorant people like me feel a lot more ignorant about stuff. So I appreciate you, because this is definitely not my favorite song.
Okay.
I'm not surprised at all.
I absolutely do not like this song. It actually made me question whether or not it also met the challenge, because it's so old. I was like, I don't know if this is LuminoPop. It's kind of like, it's just, I don't know. It's LuminoPop is, and it made me ask a whole bunch of questions about if like, because at first when I was picking, I had to look at the name LuminoPop again, because I thought it was Lumio Core, and I was like, oh well, that's a whole different thing. Like, that's a core genre. Like, that's yeah. And
too soft.
yeah, well then the LuminoPop came, and I was like, okay, well there's a version of an already established genre, and you wonder if you could go back and reassign things to certain genres, if they've always, like what comes first? Does the genre come first and then songs get assigned, or does the genre come up and then you reassign stuff to the genre? It's just, I just got it all in my head about it. But yeah, no, this song is very annoying.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Wow,
for sure.
It's stuck in my head for all the reasons that we have only done one European song contest on this entire show, and I refuse to participate in any other one because it's just bad.
Here we go. I would just say On My Own by Anamanaguchi featuring Hannah is also LuminoPop. So there you go. If you just wanted a random song to throw out there you go.
Save it for the B-sides, man.
Yeah, come on. You know how this show works.
No, we haven't recorded it. I mean, we are always recording this show.
Yeah, you take 2 weeks off and Tyler forgets how to podcast entirely and picks a song from 1985 for a genre that's supposed to be brand new.
Right, he picks a meme song for a new genre song. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel like historically we've given ourselves grace to choose the timeline is agnostic to the genre.
Look, I totally agree, right? I don't think the term hardcore existed when the first hardcore bands started playing. Like, it is a name that is assigned to things afterwards. However, you're really stretching it here.
Yeah. Listen.
This is like a great-great-grandfather.
Yeah. You're like saying that Elvis is playing death metal.
He's not playing death metal. He definitely was playing hard rock.
Well, you're not wrong. All right, Sean, please redeem us. What did you bring us?
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I'm gonna.
Redemption is a strong word.
I can already feel the hater shades coming on. So this week I chose "Gangs in the Garden" by Black Moth Super Rainbow.
Yeah, you did.
It makes my day seem real. You rip me up. You rip me up. You rip me up. I'm like a orange peel.
Because I was like, not only does the band have a very Lumio pop sounding name, but the song is exactly how I imagined a heavier version of LuminoPop. I saw it going. This does have some interesting sweetheart vibes to it, but not as much as Taylor's lyrics just kind of set his song apart from other ones. And mine's about like, dumping your friends to be a part of the LuminoPop gang, probably. But I like that it has some of the traditional synthy things, and it has those hyper pop distorted vocals that are like brought up a couple octaves, but it also has a very psychedelia thing to it. And I thought the fact that it was Lumio lent itself to kind of having a psychedelic thing, and like lava lamps and black lights and different things like that is like LuminoPop. So that's why I wanted to go down that weird psychedelia part. I just felt it was necessary to do. This song actually came out in 2012, so it is 11 years old. It's not like it's that new, so I can't really badmouth Tyler that much. But yeah, those are kind of the reasons that I thought this song would fit nicely inside of the LuminoPop genre.
Yeah, it was really kind of a flashback to see Black Moth Super Rainbow appear. I hadn't thought of this band in a very long time. They are very strange, always have been. And when this came in, I was like, boy, this is probably going to be a really dark song. I don't know if Sean understood the assignment. And listening to it, it's not as dark as some of their other stuff. Like, their stuff can get pretty dark. But this is, I get what you're going for. And I think the lead singer performs under the name Tobacco, and I think Tobacco's higher pitched sections in this song definitely fit the bill. Like, you know, there's some vocal manipulation happening, like you said. There's a lot of synths. There's a lot of like just layers of sound. All of the BMSR stuff is super like enveloping and interesting in that way. But I just think it's a little too downer in the lyrics to be LuminoPop. Like, ditch your friends, join our gang is not necessarily the vibe that I would expect.
Yeah. The gang of LuminoPop.
And, you know, there are sections of it where the synths are a little bit grittier than I would have gone for. But that said, like, it's a good song. It's a song from this band that I actually like, which I feel like it's a 50-50 shot with them, honestly. Like, back in the ye olden days of iTunes, in the iTunes store, I bought one of their albums based on a single and ended up only liking the single.
Nope, yep, correct.
Which I think is what happens to a lot of people with this band. And I'm sure Tyler also has a story about that.
I definitely bought Tobacco's one of their albums, and I was like, for some of the singles, I bought it on vinyl too. I was like, God, this is grotesque. So let me just say, if Tess were on this episode, she'd be like, this tastes putrid. I think this band has the mouthfeel of like snuffed out cigarettes on like sandpaper. Feels very crusty, feels gunky, feels like gooey. It's like ugh. But in the same way, like, okay, so let me try to get my thinking cap on though, because I think the part that Sean was kind of focusing on was almost every part that was about a funky, cool beat and infectious rhythm. Because like everything about the song in terms of like its like earworm potential is like good in like the instrumental part. Like I think the beat's good. I think it definitely like gets me in like a cool, fun headspace. Like I'm definitely like grooving on it, but there's something about the vocal delivery that is like that doesn't quite that like I'm uncertain of how I'm sold on it. I don't know how I feel about it, because in some ways it is sort of like pitch shifted and it sort of has like a lightness to it, but in the same time it's sort of like doubled, and I don't know, I like so badly want to know the production for these songs, because it is inconceivable to my brain how it's created, like all the things that are done to it.
And that, I think, is the part that fits our genre, right? It's so synthesized and digitized beyond a point of recognition of what the various instruments are.
Yeah.
Whereas at least your song and my song have discernible instruments. I think Sean is a little bit closer to the money on that, where like they're just sounds, man. Like, just vibe to it.
Huh.
So we're all right. So we made up a genre, and then we all said, well, you're a little bit more right than I am about that, but I'm ultimately the most right.
I mean, yeah, we always try to pick a winner for these, and I don't know that any of us won.
I don't think we did.
Oh, well, I mean, pop is about lyrics, so with regard to that, I lost.
True.
I mean, my vocal line is just simply a little bit of an antiquated sound effect you know.
But it's still a vocal. Let's see if the listeners did any better.
Okay. All right. So this is 262 LumioPop. Angry Tetris put in the song Malmo by Starfucker, which is spelled STRFKR.
Yeah, they had to change it because they were getting pulled out of too many record stores.
Ah, okay. Fun fact. And then at 71 DPI, Everything Felt Right by Mark Reddito. Reddito? All right, that's what it is.
I feel like just about anything from Starfucker would probably count towards this genre, so I'm fine with that.
All right. Now it's time for our B-sides, and these were sort of made up, but probably just as much as this genre. So anybody got some B-sides?
Got a couple. Talk Tonight by Jersey. I'm really interested in Jersey. I got another one of their songs on a playlist this week. I'm going to keep checking them out. And then the song Thick with 2 C's by Shy Girl and Costa.
I think really Ali X, I think is a great artist for this.
Yep.
In that a lot of their stuff is very glam, very, very, very high energy, very repetitive, very electronic. Of course, glam, but it's already on the playlist, so we don't got to worry about that. I said On My Own by Anamanaguchi featuring Hana, I think is great. I do feel like if I were to pick a sort of maybe an older track, I do feel like most or some Two Door Cinema Club, depending on the album that you choose, the previously picked Bad Decisions, I feel like is a good sort of like funky synthesizer sort of song for that. I think this cover of This Must Be the Place by Brother Tiger, I think is kind of fun. I feel like Talking Heads is also sort of like a proto artist in that genre. I would say also a sort of like mid-era LuminoPop song would be Little Secrets by Passion Pit.
Yes, yes.
I feel like Passion Pit is a 100% because that feels like an undescribable soundscape, but I'm like, this feels good in a particular way, in a way that I feel like is not often seen.
And in very small doses.
Yes. Yeah. Those are my picks.
Shot from the hip. Got nothing left in the tank. Just said, yep, this is it. Yep.
Beep, beep.
Well, Tyler, if people want more pop inspiration from you, where can they get it?
Ooh, mommy. You can find me on the socials as Rude Pets Club on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you want to check out my design illustration work, you can check me out at rudepets.club. Damn, I really have been out of the game for a minute. Oh, my goodness.
It's okay. You're enunciating it better. People might actually be able to hear it now. Sean, if people want to synthesize their love with you, where can they do that?
Instagram, Tally Sean.
Blammo.
And I am on the socials at TC Olmstead, all the places, really. Like Tyler said earlier, you can join our Discord. There will be a link in the show notes, as well as a link to our merch store if you have some Christmas cash to burn, want to get yourself a new mug or shirt or something. And we'll be back here next week with another episode of No Repeat.